everything's destroyed. It just looks like a level up.
Now it's recording. And it's recording both screens, so it can see the roll 20, but a smaller.
Yeah. So we shouldn't worry about leveling up yet, though. We can do that, at the end. And something we do have to figure out, though, is your lifestyle costs, because I want to do those every time we do downtime.
Okay.
I figure we'll probably do a week of downtime between little adventures. We could do a month. That'll be more downtime cost, but you could accomplish more. Obviously, over a month. A week seems digestible, though. We can just do like this did in a week. We could even go day to day. 7 is a lot, but we could do it. Especially because certain things will take roll like one. This takes 1d 4 days. So lifestyle expenses. All right, and I'll send
Can I
this.
just say that I have my hit dice back, since we're presumably resting for a bunch of days in a row?
Absolutely, absolutely long rest after the and you can have all your hit dice back.
Oh yeah, did we tell Alex what happened?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
You kept the party alive, but
We made Ulan like a heal bot.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. We fought a creature that looked like the wizard, but wasn't. Well, we fought a whole. Were you here when we fought all the like objects and everything? I think you were.
Yeah. I was doing a healing thing then too, so.
Yeah, we fought him, and he literally on his first attack downed everybody except for me. So I had to just like run around and like stabilize everybody really quickly. So that was tough. It got really close to us like losing very quickly, but then we eventually, got him in the end.
Ian was very thoughtful, and he had like 2 turns after that where the wizard guy was just like, "I'm powerful."
I gave you 1 turn, and I feel like it made sense because he destroyed everything. The turn after that, he blasted some objects out of the way. So that was a little bit. Yeah, I gave you like 1.5 turns. I gave you 2 turns.
Yeah.
The first turn after he obliterated everyone, and keep in mind this is someone that like just learned that spell by studying the wizard's book. The demon that was possessing his clone, as he explained to you, had just learned that spell, and he was using it for the first time, and he one-shot like 4 people. And so he was like for a round, and then the next round everybody was hiding behind wooden screens, and so he just used Scorching Ray and destroyed all of them at once. And then the next round, I started killing again.
The only reason it didn't down me was it wasn't because of. It was just pure luck. It just didn't hit me.
Yeah, it was a spell that I made.
I had enough.
One of my favorite homebrew spells was Fire Snake, and you pick the area by placing 10 5-foot squares that have to be connected to each other, so it can snake around. And there just weren't enough squares to include Ripper. So the lifestyle expenses, before I say that, do you want to mention what happened after the fight with the wizard? Because that was like most of the session. Maybe.
Well, the wizard. Also, we solved a puzzle for fucking ever, but by doing not because it was a bad puzzle, just because we were kind of dumb. But it took forever, and it was charades, like with Ian again, and it was nonsense words. It wasn't like actual words this time.
It was a 3-part puzzle, but basically a 4-part puzzle because the first part was a command word that you guys have been playing charades.
Really long command word.
And charades had been slowly escalating over the previous session, and so I was like, I'm gonna have a chance for one more charades. What do I want the last charades thing to be? And so I decided it should be a long, non-English phrase. That actually went by pretty. You guys got that pretty quick. We really got
that quickly. It was the next part. The
next part. The first of the 3 puzzles you guys solved. It kind of screwed you over too because you solved it so quickly by accident. Yeah. It didn't understand how it worked.
Yeah.
And then the next part took a really long time, and then the third part took like a real actual hour, with interruptions from Malthar getting turned into a fly and eaten by a chameleon head that was hanging on the wall and getting trapped in a blue room.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Anyway.
And then the wizard came back and told us that we could use he would give us each an enchanted item for as a reward. So, but we have to get the item, bring it to him, and whatever he needs for the spell.
Yeah, and so all of your items, you will have them by like the next session, unless there's something that takes longer. So Ulan's magic item is going to take a little bit longer. I don't know what Daniel's doing yet, so we'll say that his takes a little bit longer. Maybe. Well, unless he over this next week says like, I want this exactly, and then we'd make it. But you two, I think, had something that we figured out. Did we figure out yours, Sean?
I know we were kind of. I think the goggles of night.
Yeah.
You're getting night vision goggles.
I think they're going to be, if you like this idea, 120 feet of dark vision. Double what you would normally have. Considering maybe being able to see in total darkness as if it were bright light, which is also something that. No, if it's 100, I think actually 120 feet is enough because that means that the first 60 feet are bright light. Right? No. It means that it's all dim light.
No.
So maybe
it's all dim light, yeah, but
maybe you should be able to see it as bright light because that'll get rid of the disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because if it's just 120 feet, that doesn't change it mechanically that much from already. But the other thing is, I've described before the way I imagine dark vision working is that it's basically like infra vision. It's like you're putting out a wavelength of light that you can see, but the signature of the light is generally unique to you, like a fingerprint. But other creatures with dark vision, they usually can't see your field of vision like a beam, like a video game, like a stealth game. But if you look at someone with dark vision in the eyes, you can see in their pupil the little glow of dark vision.
Oh, that's cool.
Like when if you have at night.
Yeah, if you have dark vision and you're looking at someone else with dark. So the goggles might. I'm on the fence, so maybe your preference could matter here. Would you rather have the field of vision that you're putting out be super unique and disguised, so that other creatures can't like pick it up? For the most part, they won't be able to pick it up, but they could be extra secret. Or would you like it to be more sensitive to other dark vision? And so you can, while wearing the goggles, see the field of vision that other dark vision creatures have. So if a creature with dark vision passes by while you're wearing these goggles, you'll be able to see a very faint cone of light coming out from its eyes. And you'll be able to see where on the wall it's looking. And if it looks at you, you'll see this gleam coming from its eyes.
And it'll make the Metal Gear Solid alert.
I think that's cool. I think.
All right, I'll put a little thing in it.
Yeah. That's cool.
I haven't written actually any of the items yet, so but I know pretty much what Manny's is, and now I know. For the goggles, you'll probably have to acquire goggles. Looking around, I think you will find the best goggles you could probably find here are either going to be some like alchemical supplies, but those aren't really going to be waterproof. There are swimming goggles that are like, I wonder what old swimming goggles were made out of. They like, are there pre-rubber, like plastic swimming goggles?
That's a good
I
question.
imagine they have like a band of leather that seals
Yeah.
the face, kind of.
Yeah, it's like the skin of some aquatic creature that
Okay.
They'd be kind of like motorcycle goggles, right?
Yeah. They have
Or
to
like welding goggles, maybe.
yeah. Even, you know what? You could find a kind of goggle that isn't necessarily waterproof. And oh wait, why do they have to be waterproof? Why am I thinking they have to be waterproof? Come on. Yeah. Something that looks kind of like welding goggles, like old leather welding goggles. How they look can be kind of up to you if you have a preference. You really want to look like. What's the This talks like this. He's in a movie where he wears goggles. About family. Family.
Oh, Vin Diesel?
Diesel. He
Oh,
was in a
yeah.
movie with goggles. Riddick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Riddick,
Yeah.
right, yeah. I forgot he wears goggles in that.
Yeah, his eyes are weird in that, aren't they?
I think they're very sensitive, so he has to wear sunglasses. They're just sunglasses.
I've never seen any of the Riddick movies. I watched a scene from one of them, and it was just like a straight up like 80s serial killer like horror movie scene, but with him as the serial killer. Like it was like a woman taking a shower, and him like in the background, and then like trying to like stab her to death or whatever. I don't know what the context for the scene was.
Yeah.
But it was like so much just like he was Michael Myers or something.
Wow.
So given that,
I would say I'm trying to find a good price for the goggles. I'm thinking, two gold pieces for a good pair that would take to the end. That would like hold up. Which you want to find a good item so that it doesn't break, since you're investing an enchantment on it. Because I'm seeing like a glass bottle is 2 gold pieces. Traveler's clothes are 2 gold pieces. That feels like the right level of cost for a nice pair of goggles.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on. I think the most complicated part would be the lenses, and I know like like a telescope is like the most expensive thing in the.
These don't have to be as precise as a telescope. Just like
Yeah.
clear glass.
Alright.
That is a commodity. There's not a lot of sand here, like the right kind of sand. Like silica. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because all the stone in Dripping Delve that's close to the edges of the cave is limestone and like calcite, and then beyond that is mostly basalt, and you kind of have to go deeper, or because most of Mesogrot is basalt, but there is like granite from the Earth's crust deeper, but you need to mine deeper for that stuff, or go to certain places in Mesogrot where there's influx of or was at one point the movement of granite into Mesogrot. But yeah.
2 gold for the material of the goggles.
Yes, and then the wizard will cover the enchantment. For
I have to buy my item too, don't I?
You will, yeah. I don't have to worry about that now since we're not 100% sure what the item is.
Yeah.
But and Manny doesn't have to buy his item because he already had it. For lifestyles, I set the thing in there.
Do we have to maintain a certain lifestyle as the people living in the Jeb house?
Yes. And that's because the house doesn't come with infinite like food. You aren't gonna have to pay for like housing, so that does help. But I think everything's a little bit more expensive in Favennozionir. In Mesogrot as a whole, everything is a little bit more scarce, and money is a little bit less valuable. And so I think that makes up for the fact that you're not having to pay for your own house.
The last session that I actually did, we found some like fruit that Gildebrand had.
Yes.
And I took some of it because I wanted to try to find a way to grow it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously difficult and maybe impossible, but I'd like to do that during our downtime, and then also
Absolutely.
if I'm successful, that can offset our costs a little bit, right?
Not yet. Yeah, it would have to be very successful. You'd have to be like consistently producing enough crop to supplement your food. But that's a good project, especially like that kind of thing. If you really built it out, could make you self-sufficient. Not just because you're making your own food, but that stuff sells.
Right.
So I know I don't have to buy my item. Is there anything, or maybe you don't know yet, but is there anything that I need to buy for the spell?
For the related to the item?
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't he might need some like materials or something?
He'll cover the materials. Yeah. If there's something like that for the spell. Like the way that I wanted it to work is either you guys go out and buy an item or use an item that's in inventory already, or something like that. All the enchantment stuff they'll handle. But for the lifestyle cost, I think none of you are probably lower than modest, and probably all comfortable, right? I could see. I think there's an argument that Manny could make for maybe Roper having a lower lifestyle cost than the rest of you for a couple reasons. He didn't grow up poor exactly, but relative to the rest of his family, definitely. So he's used to that, and also he's from here, so he's used to the relative scarcity of the Underdark. So he can work around that a little bit better. I don't think this will be represented in the lifestyle costs, but I always imagined that kobolds and other reptilian D&D races ate kind of like how reptiles do, which is a lot all at once and then not again for a while.
That's kind of how I
like-
eat in real life.
Yeah, but like a crocodile can go months, maybe even a year without eating, because their metabolism is just so slow. You don't have a crocodile's metabolism. You're running around, athletics checks. But and the fact that you don't have a day-night structure, so you don't have like a certain number of meals per day, makes sense that you would maybe eat a bunch and then go for a while. What was that?
You said Malfoy had been getting some odd looks around town. Is there any benefit to kind of going up in the lifestyle and doing like a wealthy lifestyle? Like, is that going to ingrate him a little more with the merchants and so forth?
Yes, I think in general, yeah. Spending more on your lifestyle, getting better clothes, eating fancier like foods with people. All of that will help ingratiate you to like higher classes. Yeah, the looks you've been getting, I should have addressed that sooner. It's not everyone all the time. You're getting the same looks that all of you are getting, except for Roper, because you're the biggest people in the city, pretty much. But there's just a little bit. It took you a while to pick up on it, but there is just a little bit of an edge to the way that people react to you, Malthar, that the other people don't have. There's like just a little bit of an edge, and I think after a while it reminds you of when you would spend time in the city. You're used to being addressed and reacted to and noticed the way that an elf is in society. And the way people are reacting to you reminds you more of like a half-orc from where you're from.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of the tiniest hint of not quite fear, but it's like there's a fear there somewhere deeper that's not expressed. Yeah.
Yeah, Malfoy will go for a wealthy lifestyle then.
Okay.
Well, he has money for the first time in a while, so why not? But also to kind of try to get rid of that little lingering suspicion, or get a better deal with merchants, or learn connections and so forth like that.
So, should we just do a week of lifestyle expenses rather than like? Because I guess if we're doing a week, we could either do that's way easier to just say 7 days, pay it all now, right? Rather than going day by day. So that'll be 28 gold for a week. Just for Malthar, because he went with wealthy.
Oh.
You buy some like new clothes in the fashion of. In fact, you could probably add a set of. I'm not sure. Fine clothes are pretty expensive. I would say you can add a fancy cloak to your inventory. Fine silk cloak. Is that a thing? A silk cloak?
Fine clothes are the only items actually, but
you can add fine clothes.
Presumably fine clothes include.
But it's not like a full set of like shoes and a hat and all that stuff. It's just like a cloak. But it's in the fashion of Favennozionir. You can choose like the color and whatever else you want, but it's made of silk. Ulan, what are you thinking? What's Ulan thinking for lifestyle?
Probably modest or even poor. I mean, I think like I think like as a druid,
You are right. I think
he's comfortable with a lower level of, I don't know, having things than other people.
yeah, and
And also, I am like Ulan is technically capable of like living entirely for free with food and water. He probably doesn't want to do that. I'm sure eating just good berries gets really tiring.
it does, but you're right. You're right. He would actually be okay with a little bit. I think modest is maybe more appropriate for that here, living in a
Use the
city.
restroom, but I can still hear you.
But he's also probably okay with looking a little bit like he can wear that well because he's a druid. He like the dirtier he gets, the wiser he looks.
Yeah.
So that does work.
Oh yeah, I read a thing a while ago that that furbolgs like weave plants into their hair, like they like braid their hair with plants.
Ooh.
I think Ulan is like trying to do that with Underdark stuff, but probably having difficulty because the plants are very different.
Yeah. Basically no plants. So you'd have to
Right.
figure out how to do it with mushroom, with like mycelia, which is nasty.
Yeah, it's a lot grosser. I don't think I want mushrooms growing on me.
You are able to make little, like, simple little plants, because we talked about how you were able to grow plants. So you actually could do it with plants, but it is harder because you have to pick a little plant to grow it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that like furbolgs use plants for their hair, like they have to, like they don't know another way to make their hair look nice besides like using plants to tie it up.
Yeah.
So I think like Ulan has to figure something out.
What kind of? We should. I don't want to do this right now, but we should figure out what kind of plant you're growing when you're growing a plant. You know, when you're like growing just like the little Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Kind of plant that, because there's a bunch of different sacred druidic trees that we could do. We could figure out like what's the basic like tree that druids learn how to grow that you are able to take down here, because I don't think you constantly memorize every tree that exists and how to grow them.
Right.
But there's one that you remember so well that you can grow it down here, far away from any natural trees. So wealthy. Sorry, not wealthy. Modest. Keeps you out of the slums, ensures you maintain your equipment. You live in an older part of town. You don't go thirsty or hungry. Your living conditions are clean, if simple. Ordinary people living a modest life include soldiers, laborers, students, priests, hedge wizards, and the like. It almost seems like you were more describing poor, but I think I'm going to push for modest just because you're in the city, in the Underdark. Poor is a little bit too cheap for right.
So that is 7 gold, right?
7 gold. And if you...
I feel like, did we like collect gold at some point? Because I only had a total of 9, and I feel like that's really low.
I mean,
it's my fault for not recording it.
Yeah, I guess you didn't collect gold. But if you want to, rather than doing so, I was trying to think about that, because some of you aren't going to be like, you'll miss an adventure, you won't get paid, but then you'll come back for the downtime and still have to pay for the downtime. So I was thinking, how do you make money for the downtime expenses? My first thought was your downtime is making money to pay for your downtime expenses. That's not fun, because then you get to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Did Manny and Alex also go on the quest into the sewers?
Nope.
Oh.
I'd said something that like I might run it for them parallel, but
Yeah.
I think I might do that eventually, but it hasn't happened yet.
Spoilers for the sewers. No.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Ulan is fine with not having a lot of money. I think it makes sense that he wouldn't have taken a lot because he doesn't have a lot of need for it. But
I can also
it does
give you
mean
some...
that I can't afford another week of living expenses at this point. So
Yeah.
I think he's looking for a way to make money at this point.
If you have,
if it's 7 per week, and I'm planning to do modest as well, I have 200 gold pieces, so that'll keep me for like basically ever. So I can also just carry Alex like next week if he doesn't have.
Yeah,
It's all,
I
like,
think
party gold basically.
if you have something off the top of your head on how you want to make money, we could deal with it now. But otherwise, maybe we do that later.
I mean, long term, the goal is to start growing fruit. But I mean, that's up to you, kind of. Like, I'm a druid, so obviously I have a lot of like magical abilities that help me grow plants. But also, this is the Underdark, so.
You think you could do it, but you're not.
I can think of
exactly
another
sure
thing
how
you could grow, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have a magic mushroom growing on the side of Manny's pet. So.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I mean, in real life, I have no idea how to grow mushrooms. Can you cut off a part of a mushroom and like split it and like grow?
Yeah, I think it's really hard, and I think I'm guessing you probably wouldn't really be able to grow a new mushroom from what you collected, except that it's still alive and growing on a creature. Like it's still alive right now, so because of that, you might be able to get it started in a new medium, a new like soil or whatever.
Right. Also, like Gildebrand was growing stuff, and I think Ulan wants to like kind of learn from him how to do that too.
Yes, if you have like you can ask him questions and learn things. I wanted to mention for like your library. I forgot to make the books that you have in the library. But if there's any books you want to add to the library so that you can like study it completely on your own time. Any of the books in the it was the third floor library, maybe it was fourth, the library in his tower. Any of those books could be copied by Hoagie for your use in your library if you paid him for it. Basically 20 gold, which is a discount. Normally a book costs 25 gold. But for 20 gold, Hoagie will copy a book from the Pyromancer's library to yours.
What other things could Hoagie do?
He can identify. Oh yeah, well if you I think run
we did know that like Hoagie was kind of not at our disposal, but we can ask Hoagie to do certain things.
When you go back to the tower to check up on the magic items and tell Gildebrand like what you were thinking, Gildebrand's not there, but the door does open for you, and the bridge is there, and Hoagie with a mouth is there. He's like, "Oh, hey, it's good to actually get to talk to you. I'm Hoagie. My friends call me Hoagie, and
so one word. His name is one word.
No, I'm really done with that.
Yeah.
I can't do one more charades. I really can't. It was really fun, but it was fairly traumatizing. Not gonna lie. I also don't really understand why you were there. You like burgling, but it's all
We were
good.
helping.
We were.
Right. So I can do a couple different things. I can identify. I can detect magic. I can dispel magic. It's a big one.
I think so far those are all things I can do. So.
You can identify.
Oh, I
Fucking
guess I can't do
useless.
that.
I can also do that, you know.
Pretty good at
Disappear.
charades.
I'll do that when we're done talking. I don't want to do it now. Then I'll be gone. But yeah, I can copy a book. It takes a little while, but it's just a matter of I'm faster than a monk, you know, I can copy it magically, page to page.
But not the whole book at once.
No! I don't know anyone can do that. I can make a familiar. I haven't done it yet. I don't know what I'm going to make. Maybe a crab. I don't want to make a bird. Boss made a bird. I don't like birds. There's no birds around here. I'm glad. Good riddance.
What is it?
Don't like how they flap around like big bugs, you know? Flap around like bugs do. You don't really have to fly down here, you know? You don't have to fly. You just climb on the ceiling.
What came first, bugs or birds?
Oh, my bad.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Roll
what was
initiative,
that?
guys.
Ah!
No, I just forgot my guiding bolt is based on proficiency bonus, so I have one more.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that's not related to you.
Well, that's actually quite a big question. Which one came first? I don't know off the top of my... I think it was bugs.
It seems like it would be bugs.
I think it was bugs. There's a book upstairs I could copy for you. It might have some answers. The books off the top of my head that he has, of course, every edition of, or all of the, I think it's 10 books that make up, maybe 9 books that make up Lomansea. So unfortunately, each one of them.
I was just looking at the handout for that. It's 10 volumes and 37 books, so I'm not sure which he would.
We'll call each volume a book for these purposes. So each of those would be 20 gold, and they would come with all of the like corrections and notations that Gildebrand and whoever else some of those books came from have made. So there would be Lomansea is it's a work of antiquity. It's a very, very old work. A lot has been learned about the world since then. So there's notes, there's like things that are like crossed out, and it says at the bottom that this is ridiculous. There's also there's a we can talk about it. We can talk. Do you have anything else that you were gonna ask? That you were gonna ask of Hoagie?
Have you ever been to Wawa's Hoagie Fest?
I don't know what that is.
I bet you'd fit in.
What was Hoagie Fest? I've had fests before. I've had parties.
Do you call them Hoagie Fest?
What?
Do you call
Hoagie
them
Fest?
Hoagie Fest?
No.
Yeah.
I could. Should
Yeah,
I?
you could. I mean, maybe have one.
I haven't had a party in a while because I've been here. And I can't really invite people. I don't know a lot of people in Favennozionir, to be honest.
But you know us.
Oh, yeah. How's it working for the Delvers, by the way? Because when I'm done here, I've considered that maybe the Delvers might be a nice place to continue my studies.
What's your dream hoagie?
I don't understand what that means. Like,
They don't have
how would I?
hoagies? They don't have hoagies in Fantasyland? They don't have fantasy hoagies?
They might, but they don't call them hoagies here, at least. This isn't where what Philadelphia? Where do they call them hoagies?
Yeah, I don't even know.
We call them heroes.
That's what you can call me too.
I know a lot of the stuff that you guys wanted to do before for downtime was research. So I'm guessing we'll do that. But first, actually, Manny, was there anything that Roper wanted to do during this downtime period? Like anything that Roper was working on? I think when we first started and I was running through like kind of loose downtime goals, you were mostly reconnecting with family in the city, and you reconnected with I do have your family tree open. Aiba and Diedrich who live in the Dracota. A little conversation I don't think I ever actually went back to, but I think I meant to. There were just a lot of other things happening. When you, at some point between then and now, you were talking to them at the Dracota and you were asking about like people that are still around. Auntie Jeb is still around. We visited her in Hightown, Delvington, that little quiet village up there. And Iva's sister, Jai, is still living in Favennozionir. She's living in Lowtown, Lowtown Wormsden, down by the water.
What do you think is the most like common like wildlife in town? Like, is it like lizards? Is it like big bugs?
Like a pest? Like, oh, are you thinking like pigeons? Like that kind of thing? Like what's Favennozionir's pigeon?
Yeah, I guess.
Less animals around than most cities would have. There's not a lot of livestock, and there's not a lot of like animals that are just kind of around. Most of the animals in Dripping Delve live in the water. Things that come on land would be like little crustaceans, like crabs and stuff. There's trilobites, which burrow into the stone.
Okay, I wanna go find out where I can. I wanna see where I can bet on some of the underground crab fights.
Oh yeah, okay.
That they used to do at the pubs after dark.
This is where like a society check would be really useful in 5th edition. Knowledge society, but I think we'll have to settle for investigation.
Okay.
could use charisma in place of intelligence if you'd like.
Guess I don't find it.
Yeah, you rolled a 4, so even with your charisma, but that might be lower than your intelligence. So no, you are not able to find it. The first place you go is to the not the pub under. Did you live in Hightown, Delvington, or did some of your family just like retire there?
The latter, I think.
Where do you think Rupert lived?
Well, you said I was like 4, right?
Relative to the rest of your family, yeah. You were like working class, which is a thing in Favennozionir.
So where's the working class neighborhood?
Mostly, so there's Manhattan, which is there's the Gorgon Spires where most of the markets are.
I like that. I like the idea of little Rupert running around the markets, picking pockets, and
yeah. The markets are mostly on the main level, the middle level, where the bridges lead to. But there's more residential areas in the Hightown Gorgon Spires, which are up in the stalactites, built into the stone, and buildings that are like built off the side of the stone. They're like a little precarious, and there's like walkways really high up that any of the rest of the party would be pretty scared to navigate just because they're big and the walkways are very narrow. But then there's Lowtown Gorgon Spires, where a lot of the docks are. There's a lot of business going through there, but there are still houses. It's more spacious down there, except not really in the Gorgon Spires because there's so much traffic. So the quieter place would be Hightown Gorgon Spires, where you'd be like perched up in the stalactites. It would be a great view of Favennozionir up there, but not a lot of space. I feel like Hightown Gorgon Spires makes sense.
Let's see, maybe.
And you would have to get to any of the other boroughs, you would have to go down to the mid-level of Gorgon Spires from Hightown. So you'd be going through the markets a lot, even though you're living above them. A lot of the people that run shops in the Gorgon Spires also live in Hightown, that would like just above where they work. Like someone would live above the shop that they run, except way above. But in any case, if you're in Gorgon Spires, there's several places in Lowtown, Gorgonzola especially, that would have shady shit like that. And the places that you knew are all either shut down now, or they you find one person that that you know for a fact is someone who still runs the pub, and you know for a fact that pub used to have crab fights when this person was still working there, and they are like talking. So you're not sure with a 6. You don't have any dates.
I don't remember. What is this Red Dragon prayer book I have?
It's from the destroyed library in the Citadel. It's just like mythic stories of dragons from myth, that are mostly like established real dragons that existed, but they're told in a very they're like hymns and stuff. They're told in like a religious kind of way. It's
Can I add it to the library?
Yes, you can edit the library document and just add it right in there.
So I don't have to carry it around.
Oh yeah, and then you can take it off your inventory. But someone who might be able to help you find some crab fights would be Malthar, who is doing some digging into the underbelly of Favennozionir.
When I click on library, it's just a blank page. It's under items.
It's under items, yeah.
Yeah, it just shows me edit. Let me see.
Oh, is it blank? I guess it's blank because nobody's added anything to it yet.
Oh, okay.
There are some books in there that I'll add to the library eventually, but they don't have Red Dragon.
All right.
The prayer book that you have includes stuff about Chardalon and other old dragon tyrants that are a bit controversial.
Can I? I have an idea. So wait, how much does that this week is going to cost me 7 gold?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I think modest is a reasonable minimum for where you're living, the way that you're.
Can I try to get? Is there anything in the library, like any book or anything that might tell me some rituals or something I could do to like contact spirits in the house? To summon the ghosts forth that everyone claims aren't there, but I know they are.
Yes. Yes. There is a book.
I want to have a seance.
There's a book of common household magics, which has some actual ritual spells, has a lot of like prayers and things. Some very simple rituals involving like burning herbs and things.
I added it to the library.
You knew that this book was here because you and Jeb 2, book Jeb, along with a couple of other friends, tried to do a seance in the house once with this book, and you got in trouble. So yeah, there's a book that has instructions on conducting a seance. It helps to have more people. So who are you? Who's roping into this? Everybody?
Well, I mean, do you guys want to do a seance with me?
Yeah, I'll do a seance.
So it does mention,
but I'll still be part of it. Sure.
It does mention that there's a spell called Speak with Dead, which this is not. There's also the augury spell, which can be helpful because it allows you to ask questions. But this is a modified, slightly simplified form of augury. Does anybody... Ulan has 2nd level spells, right?
Yep.
Ulan can comprehend, like using the book, Ulan could stumble his way through this incantation and be able to cast it ritually at 2nd level. Where do you do the seance? Because you're supposed to do it in a room that is particularly haunted.
Good question.
The Rumpus Room.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there's. I was gonna say don't like something like 90% of household accidents happen in the bathroom or some shit like that. But yeah, let's do the rumpus room.
We could also...
Or the cellar. Or the cellar, I don't know.
I'm trying to think, do you want to go down the line of like rooms that people have died in?
Yeah.
So the bedroom. Someone died in the bedroom. I think probably Jabe, the 2nd patriarch of the Jeb house, who inherited it from his father, along with his skin disease, or his mother's skin disease.
Yeah.
He died in the bedroom of natural causes.
Or were they?
His wife was later kidnapped, I think from the rumpus room. She was last seen in the rumpus room, and she was taken by a beast. Never seen again.
Or was she?
On your side of the family, there's some stuff that happened, but it didn't happen in this house. Did anybody else die here? Somebody got hurt here. Aib's sister, Jai, was severely injured by almost drowning, but it wasn't. You assume it wasn't in the house.
I
Come
guess
to think of it, you don't actually know where she drowned, almost drowned.
then I suppose we should do it in the bedroom.
There's a spooky fire in the bedroom. I mentioned before, but I'll mention it again. There's 2 rooms in this house that are brightly lit. Everything else is dim lit. The foyer is brightly lit, and the bedroom is brightly lit.
Yeah, but maybe we can blow out the fire and light some candles.
It's always...
Okay.
You could cover it up, which is funny because it doesn't burn things. You can throw a blanket over it, and it does. The glow still like comes out from around the blanket, and the blanket like is buffeted around slightly, but it mostly just lays flat on the ground. Where the fire was, and then when you take it off, the fire springs back. What am I looking? Oh yeah. So yeah, place your tokens around the fire in the bedroom. It says to light some candles. You have a big candle in the middle of the room, but you can also bring in a couple. There's all these like red lights sitting around are little continual flames. Most of them are just a like a flat river stone or like a stamp looking paperweight kind of thing that's flat on the bottom, and it's like a little statuette or something, and then it had continual flame cast on it, and so you can move them around like a candle. You can just hold them and move. So you can break some of those in if you want. Those are a component of the spell. And from there, you cast the spell, and it looks for connection to the spirits. Not sure what that means, but the spell seems to find whatever it was looking for, and you have a connection to the spirits. What would you like to say? What would you like to ask the spirits?
Do you haunt this home? Or is it? Would I know if do they haunt the house, or or am I like summoning them forth right now?
You are speaking. You are communing with the spirits. You're not sure what that means. And if I don't answer you, probably because they don't. And also, you're not sure why they aren't.
Do you know of any hidden rooms in this house, spirit? Hidden passageways, hidden doors, hidden traps.
Make a little check here. Huge. Right, there's no grid here, so it just drops them in full size. I can resize them.
Nah, it's okay. The fire in the middle is like flickering and waving, and it gets a little bit bigger, and you swear you hear from the crackling and hissing of the fire.
What? I didn't hear that. Can you Spirit, can you tell us where these are? Can you lead us to the hidden rooms or passageways?
Thinking. Water.
Water.
The water.
The water.
He only drinks the dirty tap.
Only drinks the dirty tap. Very cryptic, but you are a ghost.
How many questions was that?
That was 2 questions, I suppose.
You get 5.
You guys seen the D&D movie?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I don't know, do you guys have any questions you want to ask?
I'm afraid to ask if that counts as a question.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Oh.
Ah, shit.
How'd you die?
We died in many ways. We are the spirit.
Oh, it's
Whatever.
a lot of spirits. So what, that's 4 questions? We have one more question now.
You have 3. Or you asked 2. This is 3, so you have 2 more. It's 5 total.
I have 2 more? Oh no. What is the afterlife like? What does it feel like to be dead?
Does not feel.
Nothing at all. Wow.
You know it. It basically was dead. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
Join us, and we'll explain everything. You're thinking about like the haunting of this place and the stories of like things that have happened here that are suspicious. So if you have any questions about that, like the things that have happened here, the ghost stories that you've heard, you might have the opportunity to verify if you trust this source of information.
Is it true that ghosts haunt this home?
Not ghosts.
Ooh.
Damn, that was the last question.
It was.
Did they say not ghosts?
They said not ghosts.
Down here in the cellar, there's the dirty tap and the clean tap, right?
Down in the cellar, yeah, there's a dirty and a clean right next to each other.
And then there's footprints?
Yeah. What did you guys do anything down here other than going down and investigate? You didn't like.
Well, we
You
swam
talked
into the
about
snake.
setting something up, but I don't.
I feel like we asked Oolong to turn into a fish and swim down there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And eventually it output to the river, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because now that you like look at it, this water does like move very slightly. It does like give, collect, which wouldn't make sense if it was just a puddle. The fact that there's water moving beneath it kind of betrays that there's a huge hole in the
Is the basement flooded during like drip tide or?
No. Possible the puddle grows a little bit, but I don't think it would have to flood, right? If it's a hole from the bottom, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but I'm gonna say no.
Are there even tides in the Underdark?
So the river does have tides. It has lunar tides, just like a lake. Because this river is you don't feel the tide as much in Favennozionir. You do a little bit, but you've heard that more downriver, the tides are fed in a more extreme way, because downriver it's almost more like a lake. But there is a difference here. It's sort of a lazy river. So it's affected by the tides a little bit more like a lake would be. And it's self-contained for the most part. It produces its own water. Or the water comes through the stone. It's not like connected to a river somewhere. Not direct. So there's the lunar tides, which happen every 6 hours. 6 hours. And then there's the yearly drip tide. I guess bi-yearly, because roughly corresponding to winter and summer on the surface, the natural spring of all the water coming through the stone slows and speeds up. So that the whole cavern gets a little drippier at high drip tide. So there's kind of a yearly cycle and not quite a daily cycle, but you could measure. Oh, that leads me to another question. How are you guys managing your, like, other than Roper, how are you guys managing the fact that you don't have a day-night cycle? Not naturally.
Yeah, good question.
Because that's a huge change.
I mean, it's definitely affecting Ulan a lot, but I think maybe just not seeing the stars is affecting him more than the lack of the cycle. Because I think, like, I mean, one of the things that Druidcraft does is, like, tell you the weather and stuff. So
we talked about how you can check in with what time of day it is on the
right,
server.
yeah. But I mean, obviously it's not that helpful down here because it doesn't matter what time it is.
No, it's not helpful in terms of scheduling things with other people who live here, but I mean, you're not quite as beholden to a day-night cycle as humans are in the real world, but think about, like, a real human living in a cave. You go insane not having the sun and a period without the sun. I mean, just living in Antarctica is so hard because of. I moved to England and, like, northern England, and the fact that it was daytime at 12 p.m. sometimes. The fact that it was daytime at midnight sometimes in the summer was really fucked up.
We all know that Ian grew up in southern England.
What? I don't even get that.
Northern England?
Is the joke that I talk about how I'm from how I live, not from, why did I even say that? That I lived in northern England for a small period of time, as opposed to southern England? Is that the joke now?
I thought you grew up in southern England. I don't know.
Alright. So I don't know, the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is, like, get a sun lamp. Wear sunglasses before you go to bed.
How
Stuff like that.
would you get a sun lamp that doesn't? They don't have lamps,
Yeah, well,
right?
it's something that you have seen one sun lamp upstairs in the wizard's tower. He was growing some herbs. That's a thing.
He was using the sun lamp for what?
Growing herbs.
Some herbs.
Yeah, you didn't check what they were. Maybe you would have if Alex had been present. Well, maybe Ulan did. I guess.
Yeah, I feel like Ulan definitely would have checked.
Make a nature check. Are you proficient with nature? You could do survival. I'll let you do.
I almost think Maltha might be a little bit reliant on Oolong to, like, find out what actual time it is. Like, down here, there's nothing to indicate day and night or anything like that. So maybe Oolong's a little bit annoyed at Maltha for always pestering him for what time is it?
Yeah, I think the first year, like, you were just like, when are you going to sleep, and when are you like not going to sleep? You know, are you still trying to keep a like 8-hour, 16-hour split?
Trying to, yeah.
So over the course of that first year, I think you could figure out a way to maintain that. But you'll have to like figure it out. You have to tell me how you're doing it. And pestering Ulan is a good way to do it.
It wouldn't be particularly difficult for me to adjust, right?
No, not at all. You were like, you're not really even adjusting. I mean, this is literally how you live. It was a bit of an adjustment living in the Citadel, even though you weren't actually out in the open. The fact that the temperature would fluctuate on such a regular basis so extremely was very difficult to deal with.
How do you live?
Is that's not how?
No, and it's also called The Boy and the Heron now.
Playing the seance music.
Yeah, so like I said before with the like magic item stuff, Ulan wants to spend a lot of time with Gildebrand. So, you know, however much time Gildebrand will allow Ulan to be there is the amount of time that Ulan is there. So probably Ulan is just matching his sleep schedule to Gildebrand's.
Gildebrand does have a strict sleep cycle, it seems like. Which is, I think, if you just ask him about it, he'll say, yes, it can be quite difficult to maintain one's rhythms in the Underdark, especially if you're from the surface world. There's no way to measure it except by your own means. So I myself have a star chart, as you can see. Not completely up to date, but I have the light in my house dim and brighten on a schedule. If yours don't, then difficult to re-enchant them. You might need new lights, but I could help you acquire those. He can, you can buy basically like, I'll figure out a cost, but if you would like to, you can get light from him that will dim and brighten on a schedule without having to worry about it. And of course, you can just use normal candles and stuff. There's candles that burn longer and with less particles and soot and stuff than I think candles are probably kind of perfected down here. Aside from magical candles, so you can just actually light and relight. You can take it upon yourself to cover up certain bright lights in the house where you're like living and working during certain hours. Is there a price in the book for an hourglass? Because that would be very useful. And those do down. You can get hourglass. There is. It's 25 gold pieces for an hourglass. But if anyone would like to buy an hourglass, you can specify how much time you want it to equip. I might recommend 12 hours. Because that way you can you don't have to flip it every hour. And you might even be able to figure something out where it flips on. That would be like an enchantment that you might have to get from Hoagie, but he can do stuff like that. You do know an artificer. I mean, Ulan does, but Malthar and Nidari have a connection in the or adjacent to the Waterworks Conservancy. There's an artificer that they worked with who tinkers objects. So if you wanted to make something like an hourglass that flips every time it runs out, he might be able to hook you up with something that does that.
Is that who Bert is?
Yeah.
I saw the character sheet. I looked at it. I wasn't sure who it was.
Speaking of the Waterworks Conservancy, you're talking with Gildebrand now. So one of your early goals was to find the notable magic users in Favennozionir. So you found a wizard who might be the most powerful magic user in the city. You also know that the Wormlord Regent himself is a pretty powerful sorcerer. And there are other draconic bloodline sorcerers who study at the Church of Dragon's Fire in Wormsden. And there's also clerics there too. There's clerics and wizards in the healing house down by Manhattan here, below the Jeb house. There are naturalists working at the Conservancy Towers, which mechanically a naturalist is basically just a wizard with one level in Druid. So they can't wild shape. And you do have a connection with the Conservancy now. And you know that Gildebrand, you might not want to ask him this because you read it in his letters, but you know that he also talks with a leading naturalist at the Vezlajet Waterworks Conservancy by the name of, look at the handout. Oh yeah, Gildebrand's personal mail. Aldglinist. Aldglinist is a leading naturalist at the Conservancy.
Ulan definitely wants to talk to them and learn, the closest thing to being a druid here.
You have approached the Conservancy Towers about talking with the mages there. And so I think if you want to go back now, maybe we should wait until Manny has to go, because I think he probably has to go about now. But let's see if there's anything else he wants to do first.
Yes, correct. I want to try to figure out what the cryptic message from the thing meant, but that's gonna take too long to do right now.
If there's anything that you brought up that like I kind of skipped past because I just forgot, then you can don't be worried about bringing it up again. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you guys will say something like, "Oh, I want to do this," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, let's do that." But hold on, I just remembered something else, and I don't get back to the thing that you wanted to do. So it's not annoying for you to say like, "What about the thing I mentioned?" That's I want you to do.
Speaking of which, I know one way that Ulan could make some money. You could try your hand at the boxing ring, and fight the town champion, Zuckerberg.
Wow! I don't think we've had a Elon Musk joke since you made that character.
Yeah.
Who has nothing to do with Elon, but you just... I think it was because you randomized the name and it kind of looked like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it randomized Ulan and then
You
we made it Umas.
Yeah. Umas. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna leave this open, and I guess I'll just keep recording.
Okay.
I don't know, it might shut off while I'm gone. It might, like, run out of space or something, but...
Okay. You might have just a big space at the end where it records nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I expect I'll be roughly 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'll have to go pick her up at 5 p.m. my time, but that's, I assume, we'll be done by then. All right.
Bye.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, let's take a little bit.
That works.
It's like a 10 minute.
Yeah.
That's what we see. Thank you. I'm interested to see if it stacks up to Barbie. Right. No, nobody would ever even think of it. Right. Yeah, they're just both big movies that came out on the same day. But pretty sure I'm gonna be Team Barbie. But I think I'm gonna like them both. Manny thinks he's gonna like Oppenheimer more.
I thought I was gonna like Barbie more.
But now he's changed his mind that he thinks he's gonna like Oppenheimer more. So we'll see. I've got to cover phones for Kate this week, which will be a little bit scary, but hopefully she'll only get like one call because of the strike. But then, I mean, literally, it's like I do that, and then, like, I have like 2 weeks of a break. But one of the weeks is where I go to Downtime Discussions, and the other week I have to do other presentations, like intern presentations, the other intern presentations. So, then I have to like.
think of stuff, early stuff that you and Gildebrand would get into talking about stars and how early, like, did you say you wouldn't show him your star map quite yet, or was that like a first offering that you were like?
I think that would be like a first offering to like see his star map and show him mine and compare them. And I don't know how star science works very well, but you know, if there's
Yours
a way
is
to like
better
look
than
at
his.
both, right? But if there's a way to like look at both and like improve one, like make it more accurate, I don't know how this works either.
Yeah, I think improving yours, like his doesn't change. His is like kind of a snapshot in time of general positions of celestial bodies, which like the stars don't move much over our lifetimes. Like in the stars, the major ones, as far as I know. Obviously the Earth rotates, and whether or not the Earth rotates in this world, the stars at least move across the sky like they do in the real world. There's a book in his library called A Scar in the Void, or A Scar on the Void, and it's a collection of studies on the shape of the world and its position in the cosmos, and so that could potentially be useful. I think what you figure out in terms of because your star map is out of alignment, which is important for your magic. His star map isn't aligned in any way. It's not a magical druidic star map. It's just like a thing you would have in your bedroom to project stars on the. But it is accurate to yours. You update it by looking at the stars.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to have some like current knowledge of the positions of the stars, and there's a couple different ways that you know that you can learn that. Obviously, by looking. I mean, the way that you learn it is through light, the light of the stars, which you can see with your eyes, but you can also detect with magic. And some can even hear it and like feel it in themselves. You know that starlight penetrates us and bounces around inside of your body in some way. It kind of irradiates you, and you still have some of that glow of starlight within you, but it is fading. And that's kind of accelerating your like inability to properly align the star map. You are changing it still to like kind of predictively, like this has been moving this way at this pace, so you know like beyond a reasonable doubt this star is probably here because it's been moving this way. But you can feel with that 5% failure chance that something you've done something wrong with the alignment, and you don't have a way to correct it. You did catch a glimpse of starlight once from the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's promising. But yeah, you need something like that. You would need starlight to be able to realign it, or another star map that is currently accurate, which it seems unlikely that you'd find one down, but there might be star maps that align themselves. You don't know if those exist, but they possibly could.
Well, those are all questions that I have for Gildebrand, I guess.
Yeah. He hasn't seen a star map like this before, not in person, but he has heard of them. And when you talk about the circle of druids that you've been kind of tracking down and studying, he is familiar with them. He hasn't looked into them much himself, partly because he's in the Underdark. I think you bring up the legends of observatories that sunk beneath the earth. I'll roll a history check for Gildemir. If he fails this history check, I will still come up with something for him, something valuable for him to give you. That's not his character sheet, that's his handout. With your help, that's a 21. It says, I don't know about any observatories per se, but there's something about the star. Let me look. And he goes through some books and some notes, and like eventually calls you back over. It's like, I found this when I was studying of all things, the Age of Dragons. When they say the old reptilian lords of the world ruled, and they were put down by a celestial event, an unprecedented celestial event, of a massive living star colliding with the world. It is said to have driven itself down into the earth and remains somewhere underground, somewhere in the Underdark. So there could be, if not an observatory, a living star down here somewhere. It's only a legend. No one knows its actual position. But to my knowledge, none have looked and published any findings that I've read. That's something that we could look into. I am certainly curious myself about the possibility of a star under the ground. But yeah, he shows you stories of a star falling to the earth and like ending an age, just completely obliterating the way it's like it's a famous catastrophic event that you vaguely heard in history. One of like a series that the ages of the world are often bookended by catastrophic events where things changed because there was room to fill like whatever was dominant before was virtually erased or broken to a degree that something else could take its place. And so the easiest way that historians can define different ages of deep time are between basically extinction events. And one of them seems to have involved an enormous falling star that didn't land on the Earth, it landed in the Earth. My star map is not anything like yours. I acquired it in Caragwir. I believe it's from Caragel. Yes. It's only it's useful for some studies, but it's not current.
Right.
or just a nice thing to have around. He has it like he's marked on the floor where the table goes, and has like marked each leg so that he can place it in exactly the right spot in the bedroom. And then on the wall where certain stars are, he has like done a very tiny like little marker, like a little label on that star, so that projects onto the wall. And then he's gone over and chalked the little name of the star, seemingly like partly as like a little hobby, but also as a reference for like if he's reading and it references a star, he can't look at the night sky to remind himself like where's that star? Which star is that? So he has this star map in the bedroom to reference. I sent you the clip of them finding it. And I mentioned in the clip that it seems like the view is from these like mountains to the west of the Sunless Citadel. He says he got it in Carrickell, somewhere above Carrickweir. Or he got it in Carrickweir, but it's supposedly from Carrick. Oh, you know what? You showed him your star map, so he'll show you the Fortunes of Fire, which is, I'll actually switch you over to the Pyromancer's Tower map.
Is that what was in that little alcove?
Yes, on the third floor, where all of your tokens are. There's this little ring of runes around a ring of stone around a circle of sand, and like there's a little bit of visible char in there. He places things there and consumes them with fire, and it works. It can be it's a powerful focus for many different divination spells. And this is the magic that of the magic that he does that would most traditionally be called pyromancy, is divination specifically with fire as a focus, gazing into the flames and seeing things. And
can you see the night sky with that?
I never have. Not exactly. I've seen visions relating to the sky and the surface, but I do wonder. It is divination, so perhaps you could scry on the sky. Of course, there's no telling when the sky you're seeing might, because those sorts of divinations tend to be a little bit non-specific on the time scale, which is useful if you're trying to look into the future or the past, but can be unreliable for the present. When he talks about the way that he observes the fire, it is kind of familiar. It does sound like the way that you watch the stars a little bit, specifically when he talks about the quality of the light. And there's things you can learn from the sound, there's things you can learn from the smell, but mostly you're going to learn from the light. That doesn't necessarily mean that you'll only learn from your eyes. The eyes are what sees the light most clearly, but light can be felt, light can be heard. And there are many different qualities of light that not all are visible to the naked eye. Myself, I don't know about you. Can you see in the dark? Do you have dark vision? No. There's some qualities of light that are produced by the Fortune's fire, and perhaps even by the stars, that your eyes cannot see. I will see slightly more from this fire than you will. And there are things that I cannot see, but magic can allow me to. You can combine spells that allow you to perceive different qualities of light, which will enhance your divination when gazing into the fortune of fire. Maybe the stars are similar. This does sound familiar. There are different qualities of light that stars produce, and there are some druidic rites that give you more vision, so that you can see the light. And I think you did a ritual like that once, and it kind of fucked you up because you were like seeing the light. It was weird because the light would like from the sky would hit you. You would see like time was almost slowed, and you would see like you would see the light just kind of little tiny particles like sparks from a fire would just zip by, and some of them would hit you, and then they would hit you, and then they would spring out from you in a different direction, but like unstable. And so like light from the stars would hit you and go through you, but it would be bent by you. And it was very trippy. Again, because all of your perception was slowed. It wasn't just expanding your visual perception, it was also making you extremely high. And you like threw up. But yeah, you were able to see light in a different way. And he has all kinds of different powders that he puts into the fire that can cause the. Not only can you can't really do this with the stars, but with, hey, how you feeling?
Good. Good, I'm here.
We were just talking about the Fortune Fire, where Gildebrand does his divinations. Not only can you change the way that you see, but you can also, with different powders and stuff, change the quality of light that the fire provides. So yeah, that's his special tool. That's his star map.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know any scrying spells, and I think they're too high level for me anyways. But I think that I probably am focusing a lot of my studies on a way to see the night sky through this fire.
All right. And then right. So Daniel, we were talking about Ulan is working with Gildebrand, kind of trading knowledge. He showed Gildebrand the star map. Gildebrand showed him the Fortune Fire.
Cool.
You do have one item. You have one item that relates to the stars, possibly, which is the book, the mostly blank book. I meant to give you a hint here. Right above your character sheets in the notes subfolder, which doesn't exist yet, but you'll see it in a second. I'm just going to put a blank book handout. You can rename it later or whatever. But I don't remember what you wrote in it, but writing, put it in there. Do you think you would show Gildebrand the book?
Yes. I think so. Given that it's blank, there's nothing to lose.
You put it in front of him, and he doesn't like open it or turn the pages for a bit. And he like looks at it and does detect magic, and then does an identify. And he's like looking at it. Hmm? He like just makes wizard noises for a while, and then eventually does open it. It's blank. Oh, nearly blank. What is this? Something I don't remember. You wrote something in it that was unrelated to the book. It was like an actual note.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was.
Well, you were looking for some way to see the stars. It seems like stars have seen you. I don't know how exactly, but this is a pact. This here is a covenant, or a representation of a covenant one has with a particular star. It's warded against prying eyes, so I'm afraid I can't tell you much unless I myself were to take a pact, which I don't do if I don't know who it is I'm speaking to. Have you made any deals recently? Might not have felt like one. Or it might not have seemed like one, but it probably did feel like.
I don't think so. I mean, it's been a lot since it went blank on me.
If I were to... He'll close the book and slide it over to you. I know a thing or two about dealing with otherworldly beings. They can be very, very useful. But as you've seen, you took a look at my clone. They can be very dangerous if you're not careful. I could spend more time with this book if you lent it to me, and I might be able to find a little more, but I can't guarantee that it won't be damaged in the process, because the book does not want me to know.
Do you have any idea what this means? Or have you seen anything like this?
Just make a flat intelligence check. For him. Show it to me again.
It might not have looked exactly like this, but this is what I remember.
It's sort of a... Do you remember it moving at all? Tell me, it is a two-dimensional drawing. Is there any more information you weren't able to represent on the page?
Did it seem to be looking at me? I don't know.
It does.
It felt like it blinked once, or something like that.
It's not uncommon for something to either, if something is communicating in such a cryptic way from a distance through a book, it's not uncommon for it to represent itself, intentionally or not, as an eye. I don't know. It might be because it's looking out of an eye, or
Additionally,
it might coincidentally look like an eye, and it might not have anything to do with an eye.
right.
I don't know. To my knowledge, stars don't have eyes.
Right. Additionally, this definitely was in the journal.
Oh, yes. Circle of abyssal runes. They don't mean anything. Sort of gibberish.
Yeah.
Why ever would someone write
it?
such gibberish in abyssal?
That's what I was wondering.
Random collection of runes. It almost looks like could be a cipher. Cipher in another language like common or undercommon, but written using abyssal runes as code. That would be my guess if I see a book that I already know to be a work of secrecy, and it has another language written in it, but in complete gibberish. That certainly looks like a cipher to me. I'm not a code breaker by profession. I've had to when I've needed to, but it's not my particular field of expertise. Was that written in the book before it went blank?
Yes. Yes, it was.
That's good for you to have recorded. You recorded what was written in the book, at least some of it. That's good. So you might be able to decipher some of it, even though I'd be wise not to tell the book that you've done. Since it's a good thing to note. It's possible that the book can hear us right now. It's also possible that the book can't hear you unless you...
It's been locked up. It's been tied up. I've tied it.
I wouldn't be so sure that it can't hear you, but it is entirely possible that it can't hear beyond what's written in the book.
I'm sitting on it.
Oh, there's quite a history. If it's probably not a demon, but if it is, I would not recommend sitting. I don't think you have to worry about that with stars. A star communicating with a mortal one. That is uncommon, but not unheard of. Generally, it's not the stars who reach out. Wizards have been known to make covenants with the stars, and granting power and knowledge. Stars have a unique insight into the future that beings in time, such as we are, do not. So a covenant with the stars can tell you much of things to come that common divinations cannot. Again, though, a star reaching out to one is quite uncommon. To my knowledge, they don't generally have much of an agenda. They'll go and pull out Loman say, where's my Loman say? I had it out. Loman say volume 2, which has information about astronomy, meteorology, and cosmography. This is a particularly outdated section. Cosmography has changed a great deal since Annelia's time, but she wrote what she knew. Can't fault the past. Yes, it seems that stars do resonate with a certain force of alignment, but they do not themselves possess the will to... there's many theories on... Are you familiar with the force of alignment? Theoretical force of alignment. It's a bit controversial. Alignment is traditionally an idea of sort of moralizing the forces of the world. You have chaotic, neutral, lawful, good, neutral, evil. It's quite simplistic, and in reality, it's most likely that things are more complicated than that. But it is still a useful scale. There seems to be some force of alignment in the universe, but it is not a moral one. The morality of alignment comes from us, beings which favor that which we call good. Alignment only has a moral and ethical weight if one puts that upon it. But We have no choice. Creatures of good, for the most part. And so we thrive when we are moved by a force of alignment which we perceive to be good. Stars radiate force of alignment like no other thing in existence. They are virtually made of the stuff, but they themselves do not seem